Hello, podcast world. I'm Lindy.
And I'm Stephanie.
And thank you for clicking on our podcast.
Turn of the Millennials.
Yeah, where we talk about everything pop culture from 95 to 2005.
Those are our prime years of being a teenager, basically. She was 13 in 95, and I turned out of 20s in 2005.
No, I was 12. I was 12.
So this is our first episode.
Thanks for clicking.
Anyways, our first episode we decided to do was the epitome of things pop culture in 2000, Josie and the Pussycats. We're loud people, it sucks.
Yeah, it's loud, so forgive us.
This is our first episode, guys, so, we'll figure out the tweaks as we go along.
So, welcome to our first episode.
It is called A Jerkin Trend Pimp.
For those of you who are not aware, that is a reference to the almighty Josie and the Pussycats.
Which was released in April 2001. I was in grade 11. Or no, sorry, actually, that was the end of grade 10, about to go into grade 11.
I was about to go into grade 13, which in,
Canada,
back then in
Ontario.
Canada and Ontario was called OAC.
For those
we had to take 5 years of high school.
For those of you who are Americans, you have no idea what the 5th year and 13th year is, so that's okay.
Some of them might have gone back for 5th year. But anyway, besides the point. So we're talking all things Josie right now.
So it was released in April of 2001. It was directed by Deborah Kaplan and Harry Elfont. And it stars Rachel Lee Cook, Tara Reid, Rosario Dawson, Alan Cummings, and Parker Posey.
And Missy Pyle. We can't forget about Missy Pyle.
This is true.
She did love Missy Pyle.
She did play Alexander's sister.
You suck.
So a fun tidbit about the directors. Actually, this was one of their last movies. Unfortunately, this movie, which we will also touch on, was a critical failure in the box office.
Box office flop, for those of you who are unaware of the terms.
But has found since cult status, actually. So,
it's awesome. It should.
At the time, it was actually their last film because it bombed so much. They were so scared that when another script came along, they just weren't ready to take one yet. And
hightailed it and ran from the industry.
Didn't even run. Just the right script never came along and they just never found it. So they just stopped directing.
That's sad.
But fun other tidbit, they directed Can't Hardly Wait. So that is why there is a lot of Donald Faison, Seth Green, Bracken Meyer, basically most of the cast from that
basically the band of du jour is from Can't Hardly Wait.
Most of the band from Can't Hardly Wait, actually, Bracken Meyer and Donald Faison were the band that never played at the party.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's for another episode anyways, so let's not go too far. We will do that in another episode.
Sorry, we may get sidetracked from time to time.
Can't Hardly Wait, it was another classic movie, and that's what our podcast is about, touching on all things social, or not even social media, all things pop culture media back in the day, because we didn't have social media in 2001.
God, we're dating ourselves.
That's okay. It's great. So, Josie and the Pussycats was actually originally based on a comic book series / cartoon morning show for one season. Cartoon. The creator, Don DeCarlo, he got the idea from his wife Josie while on a cruise vacation, and she was wearing a cat costume. So they actually made their first intro into the Archie comic world in 1963.
I loved Archie comics.
I didn't get into them. Danielle did.
Oh, I so
My
did.
sister did, which I'm sure she'll make an appearance later on.
Every time I went to the grocery store with my parents, I bugged them to buy me the newest one. I love them. They were good.
Double Digest, I believe, is what it was.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Love Jughead. I think I identified with him the most.
I think that's why I'm not into Riverdale now. I just
I'm only on like the 3rd season.
I can't get into it.
But I could. Oh, so good.
Anyways. So, the original Josie was published from 1963 to 1982. And the Saturday morning cartoons actually ran in 1970, but had just 16 episodes. And then it did have another season, I believe is what I read or something. It was actually called Josie and the Pussycats in Outer Space in 72.
Well, okay then. Kind of sounds like a porn movie. Kind of does. Pussycats in Outer Space.
Josie and the Pussycats in Outer Space.
Still, pornocopia is what that is.
It was the 70s. What do you expect? Weird things went on in the 70s.
What a decade to be alive, though.
The first 13 issues were named She's Josie, later renamed Just Josie, from 1940, or issues 14 to 47, and then finally Josie and the Pussycats for its total of 106 issues.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that you didn't know.
Yeah, no, that's why you did most of the research for this episode.
I know. It's hilarious. It's great. There's a lot of things Lindy will learn through the course of these.
I'm learning right along with you guys, so
Yes.
hang tight.
She doesn't want to do the research. I do it all.
I may be a procrastinator, but I get shit done.
Josie and the Pussycat also had a manga makeover in 2005, and then they had a comic reboot in 2016, which only lasted 9 issues.
That's sad.
This is the beginnings to our classic love of Josie and the Pussycats, or a little history of it.
So now let's talk about how much of a flop it was at the box office.
So our movies. So on Rotten Tomatoes, which wasn't out at the time, but on Rotten Tomatoes now, it currently has a rating of 53%.
Which is such an underrated, like, it's such
so
a good,
underrated.
like, it's one of those, like, such terrible movies, but it's so
second.
good, and the soundtrack is amazing.
There might be some comments on Rotten Tomatoes too, but we can still keep talking about it. We can bring that up later. I can Google some of that.
So it cost $22 million to make, but it only made $14.9 million at the box office.
And only about 595,000 of that was overseas. So most of it was domestic.
But the soundtrack was successful.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Because it was so good.
Yeah, listen to that thing all the time.
So the
so good.
singer who does the voice of Josie's singing voice in the movie is the girl from Letters to Chloe.
Letters to Cleo.
Letters to Cleo. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, doll.
Her name
Letters to Cleo.
Kay Hanley.
You might know her vocals from basically the soundtrack of 10 Things I Hate About You.
Or if you just loved Letters to Cleo and you were probably most likely a Gen X type, maybe an early millennial.
Usually born in the 80s.
Punk rock fan on the scene, you know.
Yeah.
And then actually the background vocals were actually done by Biff Naked. Did you know?
I
Fellow
didn't.
Canadian
I thought
artist.
the backups were actually Rosario, Rachel, and Tara.
They also did some as well.
Oh, okay.
So it was a
wasn't
mixture.
Wrong, so they did.
But Biff did do some of those vocals.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And then produced by Babyface. So of course it had to be good because Babyface was like lit in the 90s, 2000s.
Really? Are we using lit?
Of course we are.
So Gucci.
This is all about being in the past, so why not just use our stupid slangs that don't even exist anymore? It's great.
Lit is the new one.
I know, it's still not even cool anymore. That's the funny thing. It's now gone wayside. And kids are like, we're not saying lit anymore.
I'm not down with today's lingo. I choose to ignore it when I hear it because it's just so incoherent and dumb. For those of you who have teenagers at home, you get what I'm talking about. Like, I can't have a conversation with them because that's all they time. Like, you might as well be speaking a completely different language. I have no idea. But anyways.
Yes, most of you millennials have probably some Gen Z children. They are fun. My neighbor across the way does. She's good people. I like her.
So Steph, can you tell me why the 3 main actresses had such a good relationship and chemistry on screen?
That is
Setting you up.
cheesy.
Setting you up.
The actresses actually went to band camp to learn to play
What?
instruments.
No way! Tell me about it.
Yeah, and also about the script, the soundtrack. It was actually certified gold, which means for back in those days, way different than now Spotify streams how they calculate music. 500,000 copies is what got you certified gold.
Of CDs.
Or
maybe tape cassettes, if they were...
2001, there was still some cassettes lingering.
Cassettes out, yeah.
Still some lingering cassettes. And even though it was a critical failure, soundtrack went certified gold because it was just so great.
Oh, I love the soundtrack. It's so good.
So good. So the actresses did go to band camp. They learned to play their instruments, not 100% pro, but just enough to look realistic
Make it look like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, on camera.
Yeah.
As opposed to Lindsay Lohan, she just totally took hers over the top with her guitars.
That's another episode, Steph.
That's another episode. It's another episode. It doesn't matter. We can still reference these.
Yes, you can.
We will still make these references and talk about them in another episode. Still
So,
talk about the things.
I found this to be really interesting, that U2's Bono is a fan of the film. I think that's cool.
A year after the film was released, Deborah Kaplan, and Harry Elfont met perhaps the film's most famous and unexpected fan, U2 lead singer Bono. Deb met Bono, and Bono told her he loved the movie, and he totally got it. That was within a year of it coming out, when we still thought people were going to get it, and it would open people's eyes up to the music business.
Which, I mean, that opens up for a conspiracy of, is there a reason it flopped so bad? Because of the music industry? Because of, like, all the shit that's been coming out of the industry lately. all the supposed suicides who just happen to be investigating.
Oh, you're getting into conspiracy things.
But that's what I mean, though.
Now.
But that's what I mean.
This is not
our show. What if it's true? What if it was true?
That's a different podcast. That's not what we're here for, Lindy.
Okay, I won't talk about it. But
that is a different podcast. If you want to do that podcast, go ahead.
But what if it was true? What if the music industry really was putting subliminal messages under our music? And, like, they were like, oh, well, we have to do something about this. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know, maybe they subliminally... Anyway.
I get what you're saying, like the conspiracy, but at the same time, it's like, wow.
But obviously it did not open up people's eyes to the music business. By the way, that source is from BuzzFeed. Because I don't know if you said BuzzFeed.
Oh, no, sorry, yeah. But it was an actual quote from director Harry Alphont. Because it was around the time of the reunion special that they actually had, because it found such cult status. It was the reunion 16th anniversary screening, and then they made a record actually of the Josie and the Pussycats.
So something that everybody knows about Josie and the Pussycats is that this movie has a lot of label drops.
Yes, a lot of brands.
A lot of brand names. But so Steph read an article claiming that there's about 74 brand names in the movie.
IMDb, I believe, actually.
An IMDb
that stat.
And so me, having no life and being nothing but a hermit, took about 3 hours pausing and playing this movie to write down all of the brand names that I saw. And I think we came to the conclusion that there was 126.
That was brands and bands?
Well, anything pop culture reference.
Yeah.
So it was any type of vehicle that we saw that was in the movie that was blatantly shown the label, like Honda or Lincoln. Yeah. Any blatant brand names that you see. So like there's a lot of Diesel and there's a lot of Tide and Target and Motorola. Yeah. Like it's
those are the ones randomly placed there, which none of them were actually paid to be in the movie. No money was exchanged.
So what are the ramifications of that?
Nothing.
So could those companies not sue them for not having their permission? Or?
Could, but they probably just got a whole bunch more advertising from that movie. And...
See, and that's what I mean. I always thought that people who wanted their brand names in movies and TV shows had to pay the movie or TV show in order to do that, because it would be their advertising, wouldn't it?
I think usually it is, but I think they took the ask for permission or ask for forgiveness, not permission route instead.
Well, and I'm sure they wouldn't have done it if like the legal consequences wouldn't have been so bad.
Oh, let's see. None of the brands featured in the film paid for placement. Same article that we were referencing earlier. It's a satire. Because it's a satire about consumerism, the directors went out of their way to ensure that almost every single scene featured at least one piece of product placement.
Except what I noticed when watching the movie, except in Josie and the Pussycats' house. All of their items were like turned around, so the labels weren't showing, which I think is just a sign or a subtle hint that they are not about labels. That's not Josie and the Pussycats. That's not what they're about. That's what I.
Which is probably true. Well, as I was reading. Anyway,
well, I just throw things in. I can throw in like tidbits. And
I know.
Come back to
what if that comes up in there in this conversation? That
we'll talk about it again. Whatever. We'll let it out.
I'm just saying. So, despite what many of the film critics assumed, none of those companies paid to be featured. We didn't get money for it, and that was the big scandal, I guess, when the movie came out. Although she did add that brands like Steve Madden and Puma supplied the filmmakers with articles of clothing to outfit the cast. A lot of reviews called them hypocrites. They're taking money from these corporations to put them in the movie, and they're doing exactly what they say people shouldn't do.
I guess not all companies were on board with their products being satirized. Is that how you pronounce that word? Satirized. Yeah. So Alphont says, and I quote, "We were dying to do a Gap ad for the movie that was everybody in leopard," referencing the brand's memorably homogenized everybody in khakis, everybody in leather, and everybody in vests campaigns from the late 90s.
When I'm with you, baby,
I go out of my head. Aaron Laura's in that commercial.
Which is another episode that I want to do, is all the awesome commercials that came out of the 90s.
Yeah. Aaron Laura's in that commercial.
But then Gap read the script and they were like, hell no, there were certain companies that didn't want to play because they realized what we were doing, and others like Target were like, who cares? We're so much bigger than that. So some people
Good for you, Target.
Right? Some people knew that they wouldn't care about the satirization of the
satire aspect of it, yeah. It's free advertising. It's a fun movie. Like, come on, don't be so stuffy. Don't be so pretentious. It's fine.
It was a different time back then. Well, I guess everyone's all stuffy nowadays anyway, so.
Whole other episode.
Right.
We'll be saying that a lot.
This will come up many, many times. Did you also know that Brandy, Beyonce, Lisa Lopez, and Aaliyah, God rest their souls, no longer with us, all auditioned for the part of Val?
That'd be Lisa Left Eye Lopez and Aaliyah are no longer with us.
Yes, clearly the other two are, but
Yeah.
you know.
Obviously. But just saying. Just clarifying. Because someone's going to hear this and be like, what, Beyonce died?
Right?
Pretty sure I would have heard about that.
I don't want to put that out into the universe. It's not what I meant. They both auditioned, actually, for the part of Val.
Oh, okay. I just love that it's, like, it was one of Rosario Dawson's, like, kind of, like, first acting roles, and now she's, like, a huge freaking star.
It really was.
Like,
they say that a
I
lot in the
love
articles
that.
I was reading and
I love
researching
that.
about this, is that it was hers. And, fun fact, Valerie Brown, the bassist, Pussycats bassist in general, became the first major black female animated character on Saturday mornings. And more importantly, she was brought to life by Barbara Poirot and Patrice Holloway, two black women as well. Well, back in the day, they did a lot of, like, quote-unquote cultural appropriation, so it was a white girl voicing black girls. So, you know, Josie and the Pussycats has always been way ahead of its time. Favorite parts of the movie? What do you want to talk?
Okay, can we... what I find hilarious is, like... Okay, at the beginning, like when I'm watching it or whatever, and Josie is like, okay, I look at Josie as someone who wouldn't really wear a lot of heels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like she wears these ginormous fucking wedges everywhere. Maybe it's because Rachel Lee Cook is on the short side.
She is like 5
and
foot
Rosario
something.
Dawson's probably pretty tall.
And Tara Reid was.
And Tara Reid, I would
polished.
expect her to wear heels anyway.
Well, she was also, I think, a little much taller than
Yeah.
Rachel Lee Cook as well.
But I'm just like, I see them like, they're running around like downtown, like, play their music in front of Steve Madden, who's trying to sell new orange things. And like, they're like, she's in these like 5-inch wedges. I'm just like, I just don't see that as a Josie character. Maybe it's just me, but you're checking how tall she is?
Yeah. 1.65 meters.
Okay. How many feet is that?
We're on the metric system. Don't you know that, Lindy?
Because I know height in feet and inches.
Because in Canada, we are weird and we use a bit, mostly metric, but a little bit of imperial.
But we talk like their fashion.
Conversion,
like,
sure.
So she's 5'4". So she's like an inch and a half shorter than me.
That's really tiny. What's Rachel Lee Cook?
If you spell it right.
You know what? Sass me once.
1.57. So she's shorter.
She's even smaller.
She's even smaller.
5.1.
Wow, that's short. Rosario is probably what, like 5'7"? 5'7".
5'7".
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah.
Sweet, I was right.
So she's about the same height as me.
Right. La 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 la.
But yes, also those platforms and wedges were also the style at the time. And you want
Yeah,
to
with
get into
the
the
giant
style.
flare jeans
Yep.
that go over them.
And the also ever so popular ultra low rise pants in the early 2000s.
Oh, which I never wore because I was a fat teenager. So.
I tried to wear them, but I have a short torso, so they kind of already came up to my belly button. So I couldn't wear them too well.
What I like are like the little rainbow on the back.
Her dress
of
when
Tara
she-
Reid's pants. Oh, and her dress, the
When she
leopard dress
cuts
that
up
she
the
wears.
dress and she makes the cuffs
And
out
she's
of
got
it.
that like jewel flower thing on her back.
Yes.
When L&M is all
We
like,
liked a lot of sparkly stuff back then.
Oh
There
my
was
gosh,
the
wasn't
jeweled
it?
hearts and that, like the jeweled tattoos. I believe that was
It's
very
like-
2000s.
It's like yeah, like basically glitter was
And then
like in those couple
when
years.
cell phones kind of first came out, like the first set of iPhones and that, they glittered the back of those as well. The
Yeah.
first set of iPhones. So
Yeah.
yes, the early 2000s, we were very much into bejeweling a lot of things and jewels on ourselves. And late 90s was all about the eye glitter.
But I was so
Goopy
like
eye glitter.
as
but
much as
that's another episode.
as much as I'm into that now, I wasn't then because I was such a tomboy
Yes.
that like I hated everything girly.
This is true.
Would like I hated pink. Pink, I just, oh my god, it was the worst fucking color ever. I hated it so much. Now it is my all-time favorite color. I'm wearing it right now. So my pink sparkly CSI t-shirt. So like, it's just, if you're a teenager and you're listening to this, just remember who you are as a person now is probably not who you're going to be when you're in your 30s. I'm definitely not.
And that's the lesson for today,
Yep.
apparently.
There we go.
Is that what we're gonna do at the end of each episode? Is give life lessons to the next
Why
generation?
not? Why not? There are so many things that like, well, it's not like they're gonna listen because I mean,
No, you never know.
grown-ups could give me advice till they're blue in the face when I was 17 and I was gonna be like, yeah, what do you know? You're old. We're old because we fucking lived through it. That's why. I wish I had listened to like 90% of that advice. Like I do. Yeah. So, what is one of your favorite lines from the movie?
Oh, me and Tia always used to quote du jour with the face and the face. Am I doing your face? Oh,
is it such a nice face? Am I doing your face?
Everywhere you go, everywhere he goes, my face. It's my face.
My mama gave me that face.
Too bad your mama couldn't get you a good face.
Respect Dr. Zeus.
Du jour means family.
I think one of my favorite one is Alan Cumming and his character. Eye contact, hand. Eye contact, hand.
And Parker Posey, always our favorite.
Let's gossip. Oh wait, that's Missing Pile.
No, Parker Posey, come on, girls, let's gossip. We used to do that all the time.
I met to a friend the other day who, is 10 years younger than me, by the way. So she's like 25.
Yep.
Younger millennial. I told her, I said something. I was walking past her. I was like, "Oh yeah, we'll have to hang out and gossip." And she did it back to me. I was like, "Do you not know what that's from?" She goes, "No." And I go, "Josie and the fucking Pussycats." She goes, "I don't know what that is." I was like, "Oh my fuck, you need to see this movie." I've given her a huge list of movies that she needs to see and catch up on. And
I tried to do that to the neighbor next door. I gave her a big bag of them, and her mom's like, "No, she can come over and get one at a time." And I was like,
yeah. For those of you that are not older, elder millennials or Gen Xers, that are younger than that, sorry guys, you were born too late. You have so much to catch up on. So many great movies, great music.
Some of them they might have had older siblings.
I mean, that's true. I mean, my kids have definitely seen a lot of stuff from our days. A lot of stuff. They fucking love Goonies and Sandlot and stuff.
See? Just depends on how good their parents are to showing them all these good stuff.
Be good parents. Introduce them to the shit you grew up with.
Right?
Yeah.
Let them do new shit, but also introduce them to the good shit. Be like, this is where your shit came from. If it wasn't for this, you wouldn't have that stuff. Because a lot of that stuff is ripped off of our stuff, which was also ripped off of our parents' stuff. Because everyone wants to nostalgia, and it's just a big
Every
cycle.
generation of anything artistic or entertainment-wise... Creative is sampled from the next generation.
Whoever is now creating is trying to nostalgia from their youth.
Look at how many artists in the 90s who, when they were asked, who's your biggest inspiration? Most of them said, Michael Jackson.
Now with them, it's Nirvana.
It's things like Nirvana or Foo Fighters.
Or Backstreet Boys.
Or NSYNC or Britney or Christina. And then in the next generations be who is your biggest influence? And I'm not saying this is going to be true, but it's the only name I can think of right now. No, Post Malone.
Ariana.
He's so inspirational.
He is inspirational. I don't mind. We like Post Malone.
He inspired Ozzy Osbourne to become a star.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
That
BT Dub, Ozzy Osbourne has been around longer than us.
This is the one thing that does bother me about Gen Zers, is that they have so much wealth of information. They have all this wealth of information at their fingertips. And they still choose to not research who these people are before making idiot comments like this.
Which the comment I'm referring to is the one where it's Post Malone is so awesome. Look at him helping out new artists. That new artist was Ozzy Osbourne.
He's going to be lit with Post Malone backing him. Yeah.
Really, parents? Come on, you're failing your children.
Very much failing
Introduce them to Black Sabbath. Come on.
Or even in the least, let them watch Dazed and Confused and let them find it on their own.
Oh, such a good movie. That's
another episode.
So
that was gonna stay in.
Yeah, we're not editing that part out. That was gold.
Great.
That was gold. Because we have so much of this 10-year gap of pop culture in our heads
that we were such pop culture junkies as teenagers. Gosh, yes. We just absorbed so much of it.
How many times did we
never got to use it?
How many times did we go to the movie theater to see the same freaking movie? I don't know about you, but
you went a lot more than I did to the movie theaters.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you babysat and I didn't babysat, so I didn't have that extra money coming in.
That's true. But yeah, I probably ditched school once a week to go to a movie.
I do remember ditching my math exam to go watch Fast and the Furious when Galaxy Cinemas opened up at Conestoga Mall. First showing ever. What?
Really dating ourselves.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's cool.
That's the first Fast and the Furious.
But
not
that's the
the ninth, not the 8th. The first Fast and the Furious.
The very, 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 very first one.
Talking Vin Diesel,
just called
Paul Walker.
Called Fast and Furious. Speaking of Josie, what else can we speak of Josie? Can I just say how much I fucking loved her big concert outfit? Her original one. So
the blue one?
The blue one. Where she, fought Parker Posey and, shoved a Twinkie down her mouth, and Parker Posey was all you bitch! So, I loved it. The pants, the top, the sheer jacket with the fuzzy.
I liked her outfit when she's,
her makeup was awesome, too.
When she's
on fleek.
when she was being like bitchy Josie, that suit thing she was wearing. I was not a fan
I didn't like that.
one.
I'm not a fan of like the metallic pleather look that was so big around that time. The plastic looking clothing, like I was not a huge fan of it.
I could never afford it because it was available at Le Chateau and my parents were not well off. But
Yeah,
I always loved it. We never could. That's why probably also we didn't wear it. But I loved it, like in Romeo and Michelle.
Okay,
like that kind of plastic glitter.
Those I enjoyed, but it was some of the outfits in Josie and the Pussycats that were made with that type of material.
They just didn't.
I don't know.
It wasn't fashioned correctly.
I loved like that outfit that you're speaking of, the metallic one when she's bitchy Josie.
Yeah.
Like I loved the outfit itself, but just not that fabric.
I like this Tara Reid one. I've always loved that Tara Reid purple shirt.
Okay, yeah. So for those of you who are not sure what we're talking about, it's the one in their...
It's the cover album art, and it's the purple, basically, side-angled halter. I also did like Josie's gold halter when the crazy neighbor girls or Riverdale girls come and then
I swear on my bus pass.
I swear on my bus pass. Those were all just cute outfits because they were still before they went crazy.
They just have cute outfits in general.
It's true. Some of them were just not. I wasn't a fan of like this shirt on Rosario though.
Yeah, I was not a fan. The one that we're talking about is like the long sleeve with
same one where the
crazy
crazy
salmon color.
When the neighbors come.
Yeah, so it's about a salmon color and it's got the deep V with like the rope across the throat kind of.
Yeah. And I guess
I just don't find it flattering on her. She's got such a smoking body. Like
and not only that, in the 2000s we still hadn't quite found the double-sided tape and kinesio tape where we could actually properly prop up our boobs like we do nowadays.
Yeah, they don't look fully supported.
Yeah, so hers don't look fully supported in this, but that's how it was in the 2000s.
Go sweat on someone else. See, like, I love that Sid shirt.
I was going to say, that is the epitome of the shirt because it's, like, her intro to it. So, of course, they had to have, like, it rocker chick with all of the, like, chains and stuff on it. And their original ears. They're leopard. We're special.
They're special. We're special. Yeah. Terry, the only movie of hers that I like with her in it.
American Pie 2, actually.
Like, I like her movies, but some of her characters, like, it's not her, the actress. I think maybe a lot of it's the characters
also was not a flattering dress on
No,
Rosario
but I still liked it.
It is good, but it's just, again, with the same issue of the boobs. It was not flattering in the boob area on her. Strapless bras in the early 2000s had none of the high-techness we have now.
Had it been properly supported, I love that shirt. I thought that was a really cute shirt. But yes, it's not fully supported.
Oh, I liked that jacket too when they got found number one band.
Yeah, when Wyatt almost ran them over in the street with the number one band behind them, just and he happened to have
red flashy one when they're first in the
the
studio.
walls are mushy.
When they're first in the studio. Smells like Teen Spirit. Josie and the Pussycats is the best movie ever.
Yep.
Join the army. I love that part.
Subliminal messaging works much better in movies. But like the du jour's outfits. Like, okay, so like the shirts with the flames around the bottom or like the flames around the sleeves. I mean, how many of our guy friends had those shirts? Like all of them did. In a variety of colors.
Right. Bootlegger. Yeah. Ricky's was the girl store.
Is Blue Note still around?
It is, but it's kind of like, well, here's the funny thing. I thought for a bit it was selling Stitches stuff, and then we went there, me and Kate went there the other day, and now it's selling Aeropostale stuff.
Weird.
So, yeah, it was very weird.
There's not even an H in that.
Will Wheaton?
I want that du jour top hat.
When they're terribly trying to sing it.
Yep. I'm pretty sure we were just terrible doing it then, too.
Yeah. I wanted those shower toys.
The McDonald's ones?
Yes, for so long after this movie came out. They're
so like
cute.
McDonald's shaped loofahs, like sponges, yeah.
They were so cute. Remember me and Mandy actually had the official Josie and the Pussycats, which I tried to find them, but I don't know where they are. They might be at my mom's in a box or something, but I couldn't find them in any of my
The original
boxes
Josie and the Pussycat ears?
Oh yeah, that they sold when this movie came out. They were the greatest. I had purple. Danielle had blue. I don't remember what Amanda had, but me and Amanda both wore them in our grade 11 pictures.
I remember that because one of you guys lent them to me, and I wore them in mine too.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure it was yours. I think it was the purple
might have been mine. And then I ended up getting retakes because for some reason we didn't get the first set, and then they put my retake in the yearbook instead of my kitty ears one. I was so upset.
That sucks.
But it was used on my student card.
Yep.
So I still had that. I was like, aha! I still had proof that I did it. That was great. Oh, yes. Me and Amanda had like t-shirts and everything. She was obsessed with this movie as well. I think me and her went to go see it a couple times.
Yeah, this is definitely a movie I could recite word for word, like from memory.
It was
probably about 5 movies I could probably do that with.
There's the blue outfit you were speaking of, which again,
Yes.
it doesn't have much in the support ways.
Yeah, but I think also in that time, a lot of female actors were opting to not wear bras as a form of feminine solidarity or something, because like what's her name, Jennifer Aniston, kind of started it on Friends.
That wasn't feminine solidarity. That was just
No, there was an article. I'll have to find it and like put the
showing
link
nips.
on it,
Also helped get ratings. That
yeah,
was
that's
unfortunate.
true.
See,
That's true.
that was the reason why it happened. Because
Hey,
it was.
if
I don't know if it was
my
a solidarity.
boobs
thing.
were perfectly shaped 100% of the time, I would go braless all the time. Bras fucking suck.
Free the boobs. Yeah, people don't care. It's literally only in your own head.
Yeah, I do not like that outfit, the all leopard outfit
Yeah.
that Josie's wearing when like she's
This one, getting her
when she's
manicure
bitchy.
and that and
Yeah.
being bitchy Josie. And I love when they're getting their makeovers done. Oh, streetwear. So messed up it again. Another episode.
Oh my god, streetwear was like all over this movie.
Was all over this movie. But when they're getting their hair done and the hairdresser comes in and all she does is that one little
tick
tick.
thing.
And
they're all like,
everyone's
"Oh!"
"Oh!"
I'm just like, but now it just looks dumb. Because
Right.
now she's got like this alfalfa thing going on at the side of her head.
But then when she comes
Like,
out, it's all
and then when she
settled
comes out,
so
it's
fine.
perfect.
I totally
But
tried for that haircut when I was in that, but my hair's too curly, so
It didn't work very well.
That was the
think I
days
remember that.
when I first started straightening my hair.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Because 2001 was like pin straight hair was all the rage. And the first time I had to straighten my hair was with a curling iron.
That's so hard.
Oh yeah, it was grand old times.
The days before flat irons.
I didn't even do the actual iron
Yeah.
with the thing over it because that was just too scary for me.
I did.
I
I've
never
done
did.
that.
I never did. It was too scary
Yeah.
for me. Actually, I remember when we went to London to visit Ashley. I think you guys did it.
Yeah.
On your hair.
On Halloween. The malls are mushy. I love how Tara Reid's character, she comes out of the bathroom and screams because she has a message on her mirror, and then she like fixes it and puts like a smiley face in the O and a
Hearts
heart
and
over the
stuff,
eye
and
and
she's
stuff,
like,
and she's like, much better. It's like, no, it's because you just have a random message written in lipstick
Yeah.
on your freaking mirror.
Wasn't even what the message said either.
Yeah.
Beware of the music. Eugene Levy.
Oh, yeah, appearing in that video for
YouTube.
brainwashing the youth
The children
of
of
America.
the youth of America.
I liked him in American Pies.
One of them says Can't Hardly Wait was the most underrated movie because it was done by the directors. And it totally was.
It totally was. Can't Hardly Wait is awesome.
It is. Eugene
Hello,
Levy.
I'm Eugene Levy, and yes, I'm an actor. No, I said cappuccino. I'm here to talk to you about something very important. No, it's not about me or my career. I'm here to talk about subliminal messages in rock and roll music, or as it's simply known in some cultures,
Rock music. The greatest. I loved Eugene Levy in this movie. He was hilarious.
I thought he was like
so
perfect for
funny
this role.
Right? Check with the lawyers that we don't have.
Right, we
I love that
tons of players.
they are all like one of the things they say in that like pit where they're coming up with like the new ideas is where they're just like feathers are the new rhinestones, like Buffy meets Chicken Run.
Yes. Jerkin. That. Slang. Jerkin.
Like, dude, that's Jerkin.
And then if you
Hence the name of the
and if you don't
episode.
remember that Josie calls herself a trend pimp when she finds out about the subliminal messaging.
Yeah, she's nobody's pimp. Actually, not the music.
Starts
industry.
now.
Ends now.
I want a Big Mac.
Mallory vegetarian.
I know, but sadly I want one. Greatest movie ever.
Greatest movie ever.
So.
I love how they ended it though. Okay, so the conversation that Alan M and Josie have in an auditorium while there's super loud music playing
Would
while he's crowd
never
surfing like
happen.
100 feet away and they're having a full blown on fucking conversation. Please.
Half the time when I'm in a
Please.
concert, I can't even person standing next to me,
Right?
let alone the
But-
person on stage hearing someone crowd surfing.
But I do believe that was on purpose because that would never fucking happen. They're just like, oh, let's throw this in the movie because it's hilarious because it would never fucking happen.
Right?
So it was just, I don't know, maybe it was meant to anger me in that way. You know, specifically just me. So.
I feel like it was just in general, oh, let's just put this in at the very end and make it a love scene. Because there's got to be some kind of like culmination to love stories in these.
I do love that Val comes up to them when they're kissing and she's like, hey, we're kind of playing a concert. Let's, come on. Like, we can only play the same chords for so long.
Can we
Let's
have
go
our
this.
lead singer back?
Like, my
please?
fingers are getting sore. Let's do this.
Yes, thanks. And when Carson Daly and Tara Reid,
Oh, yeah, because they dated for a while.
they
like,
did date,
when this movie happened.
and Ari Spears does all the terrible
When he does
Chris
the Bill
Rock
Cosby,
impression.
like considering where Bill Cosby is right now, and he anytime he comes up in old movies, like in an idolized type of form, I laugh because it's just like, oh, if only they knew then.
Past is hindsight 2020.
Past catches up to you.
Okay, you did a terrible Chris Rock impression.
Oh, that was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Val, you're totally right. It was terrible. Terrible. Jackal. It's Jackal.
You're not funny.
You know who's funny? Bill Cosby. You want some Jell-O? And you put in pops.
We know that this is now not necessarily appropriate, but it's still great and funny.
Making fun of Bill Cosby is funny, not in any way offensive to his victims.
No. We were making fun of him.
Yes.
And
because he's such a
made by
terrible
him.
person.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man.
The great gems from this.
Is anybody else surprised to hear that Alan Cumming's not gay?
Sometimes
I was shocked. And I'm not trying to stereotype or anything like that. I'm not. But I don't know. It just, like, you know how sometimes you can, like, I don't know, just tell. And it's...
He always plays a certain character that you
Yeah.
would assume is flamboyant characteristics you would assume would possibly be from of a homosexual nature.
Yes.
Or homosexual stereotype.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I was surprised with that. Not that there's anything wrong with being straight.
he just plays characters so well.
Alan Cumming, phenomenal actor. Love him. He's just freaking awesome. Loved him in X-Men.
Yes, everything he touches. So good.
Mm-hmm.
And another one, Alan Rickman, who was also great.
Oh, Alan Rickman.
Reminds me kind of Alan Cummings, just because it's the Alan.
Yeah.
I always got them mixed up, and they were British.
Yeah.
They were the British
There's
Allens,
not-
and they got me confused.
One Alan Rickman movie I have seen that I didn't like. Dogma's got to be up there.
Alan Cummings.
Love Dogma.
Alan Rickman, yes.
I'm talking Alan Rickman.
Yes.
But anyway.
And Snape.
Oh, of course. But Harry Potter is an entirely
another
different
episode.
Probably a few episodes to
Yeah.
watch fucking
Episode.
unpack with that one.
That's another episode.
Okay, so to wrap up,
On that note, join us. We're going to have
we'll probably do
some
like
more.
weekly podcasts. Probably we haven't decided on days or anything yet. Again, it's our first episode. We're still
Working out the kinks.
tweaking things out. I don't
Um,
twerk. I'm too old for that shit. So,
Next episode, we're going to dive into the shampoo-gasm.
yes, we are going to talk about the
Hair products of the 90s and 2000s.
Remember, like, the orgasmic episodes of Herbal Essences, where a girl would rather stay home and wash her hair than go on a date and get a free meal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those ones. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so to wrap up,
we'll figure out how to end these two as well.
yeah,
you
we
know.
will figure out endings and all that jazz. But if you have not seen Josie and the Pussycats yet, I highly recommend that you do, especially if you were a teenage girl in the year 2001.
You can probably still find copies on Amazon of the DVD. I believe it's on
You
Google,
might even have
or-
several friends who have a copy that you can
This
borrow.
is true. Or you might even have your own copy and show your children because
Yes.
they'll want to see it as well. But for those younger than us who wouldn't have a copy, I'm sure you could find it on Apple Play Store or Google Play Store. You know, they all seem to have them either for rent or purchase, probably usually. And I'm sure you can find the soundtrack on Spotify. 'Cause
Oh, probably.
It is amazing, and listen to that.
I
over
think
and over
I think
again.
it is because I'm pretty sure it's on my playlist already.
Of course you did.
So,
Okay, say goodbye.
yeah. So thank you so much for listening to our first episode. I'm hoping that it will get better, like when we, tweak the things here and there that we need to work on, because obviously, first one, so stop judging.
So join us next week for more
Our-
Turn of the Millennials and
Yep, more of our
Venture
banter
back
and
into
jibber jabber
nostalgia.
about the pop culture that was around 95 to 05.
Turn of the Millennial Decade.
Yep, pretty much. All right, well, have a fantastic night, people.
Peace out.
Bye.